It's the final play day for APAC South. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We've got two very sexy gentlemen on the virtual desk today. It's Raven, it's Manic for coming on in, guys. It is, of course, the busy time of the stage, Raven, where we're going to decide who's going to make it to the playoffs.
We are, and just in classic APAC South style, it is so close between every single one of these teams. Of course, there are a couple outstanding that can book a direct spot to Mexico, but in terms of playoffs, it is anyone's game.
Yeah, pretty nightmarish. Pretty nightmarish from third place all the way till eighth. You know, anyone can really make playoffs. However, only 3 teams can make the major. They will be sent straight to Mexico. One of 3 being Elevate, QConfirm, and Knights. All of them sitting up the top there. Knights is a little bit more of a, I would say, a Hail Mary, other than Elevate and QConfirm, who, well, their matches are so pivotal tonight, and I can't wait to watch those ones. I'm really curious, though. You know, Wildcard and 7th Heaven, they're obviously the lesser of all the chances. However, there is still a possibility. I don't know, maybe. Are they? I mean, well, they may be a little bit less in the fact that they're 7 points, Xenox, and that's the Manic deep dive for this one.
Yeah, that is astute observation. Thank you very much, Manic. Let's go and have a look at the schedule for today's matches. Of course, this is all important. The final 4 games to be played here for Stage 2 of APAC South. It's QConfirm versus Wildcard to kick it off, Raven. And of course, pretty big ramifications here. Wildcard, they've got to win.
They do, yeah. They really need to win this to keep their chances for playoffs alive. And of course, 3 points will definitely give them that best opportunity. But on the other side of that coin, QConfirm are in a very good position to be able to lock in first place and try and qualify directly to the Mexico Major. Their fate will be held in the Elevate IG game regardless, because they will have to think about a head-to-head. But yeah, it's a big opportunity for QConfirm in particular to try and really book themselves that spot to the Mexico Major.
Look, to be honest, the big one I'm looking at is going to be the Order Knights match, outside of obviously Knights and QConfirm, because both of those teams right now, they will just be fighting it out from start to finish. I think it's the perfect storyline that we could have asked for. The fact that QConfirm play first and Elevate play last, it really will come down to that all-important matchup. But the Order Knights game have some pretty serious ramifications. The fact that if Order do beat Knights, in regulation, that is, they will go to 11 points, leapfrogging the Knights, and it may also leave a spot open for either Chiefs or Invictus, who actually could completely take Knights out of the standing altogether. So Knights could either finish first and go to the major, or they could not be in playoffs at all, which is pretty insane. So tonight's matches, every single one of them has so much weight to them that it's not even funny. So I'm just keen, Xenox. Again, there's your deep dive.
Thank you very much, Manic. I mean, this is why we pay you the big bucks. Of
Honestly.
course, Invictus Gaming versus Elevate will then be our final game of the night. And pretty similar scenario there for Invictus Gaming, must-win territory. Let's go and have a look at my favorite segment. It is the caster panel predictions, and it is myself and Manic Monday leading the way, but not by much, of course. Dev and Guz on our heels, and Raven, well, I mean, at this point, should we just disqualify you? I don't even know. Do we count your points anymore?
Hey, look, I don't think you need to be that nasty, Xenox, but no, I'm definitely, look, ship has sailed completely for me on this stage, but I like to think that I have some power with my ability to curse these teams. So I've certainly gone for a mixture of predictions I think will happen, and a mixture of just exercising my right to curse. I don't know how to phrase it anymore, honestly, but yeah, look, this stage has definitely been a write-off for me.
Not even. I mean, the fact that you could potentially make 20 points of wrong predictions is kind of outrageous when you come to consider that that will be over 60%. It'll be nearly, I think, 70% of all incorrect guesses, Raven. I do feel for you there. I feel a little bit scared. But Xenox, I think we know where it's at. Me and you, our fate is going to be decided on that Order Knights match, which I'm keen for.
I mean, Guz and Dev, of course, they could still technically overtake us, so we can't really count them out too much there, Rob. But hey, I mean, it's nice to see the 2 play-by-play guys at the top for as long as we can take it. It has been a very difficult stage to predict, though, Raven. I guess I can give you a bit of an out there, a bit of a leeway, but I think tonight's predictions sort of, again, highlight that it could go either way for pretty much all of the matches, that there was no real, you know, general consensus that we all went for that one game. I was like, yeah, 100% that team's going to win, and that is the beauty of APAC South.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, like, even you and Rob out in the lead there at 12 and 12, that's still only 50%. I think that really just shows that the, the best ability that somebody has been able to predict this stage, it's still only been a half hit rate. So yeah, APAC South is just beautiful like that. Any team can step up at any to win, and that is
Yes,
Mr.
Mr. Oh my goodness, Raven, what just happened to you? Mr. Roboto, oh my
I just saw that out of the corner of my eye.
I was just catching up on lost time, but I think I would echo the fact that this stage has actually been harder than stage one, which is absolutely outrageous. I think Wildcard and Invictus have done an incredible job of picking up their own slack from stage one and starting to give us a bit more promise. However, they are still down the bottom of the standings, so I don't know how true that statement is. At the very least, every team in APAC South has at least 2 wins, which I think is a credit to how difficult this league is.
Yep, definitely is. Let's go and draw our attention, of course, to the matches at hand, and that one being our first one of the night, QConfirm versus Wildcard. We already set, I guess, the expectations. Raven, what are the win conditions here if you're Wildcard coming into this game? Of course, QConfirm have been mostly up, but in recent weeks they've been a little down. Is this the time to strike for Wildcard?
I think there's definitely an opportunity here for Wildcard. I mean, we've seen Wildcard come up with some really big performances towards the end of this stage in particular. They're slowly going through this period where their roster is really sticking in its current form, and Maloska in particular, I tell you what, he's had an excellent APAC South debut. He's the 4th highest rated player at the moment across the entire league, so certainly one to keep your eye on. I think in terms of Wildcard winning this, honestly, I think they should just play it loose. QConfirm are a pretty difficult team to handle at the best of times, and I think for Wildcard it's just play confident, play loose, and just read the game as it goes, because QConfirm is certainly a team that are great at adapting throughout the match as it goes, and you need to be able to counter that if you've got any chance of getting that dub.
Yeah, and you look to the likes of probably Vinny and Pat that will need to step up this game. I think Vinny's admitted it in his own faults that he probably hasn't had the best stage in either his national or this APAC South League. So there is a big opportunity for him to kind of play, the saving grace for this roster. Imorin has been unbelievable all season long. I'm really curious to see where this match ends up, because obviously at the moment in their current form, Clubhouse is just a map that you really don't want to be taking Wildcard to. So that'll be a big factor for me as we get through this.
Their opponents, though, of course, QConfirm, fresh off a loss to Elevate, their rivals. That was a 7-4 loss last week for Playday 6. Prior to that, they did take down a resurging Order 7-3. So up and down for QConfirm, who, once again, Roldini is going to be in, so no Dark. It has been the case, I guess, Raven, I'll go to you for this one, that they've had a bit of an ever-changing roster again this stage, kind of similar to stage 1.
Yeah, they have really kind of actually really played with that 6-man roster. Dark has participated in 4 maps, Roldini 2 so far, but overall, they've had some really consistent performers, and a win condition, I guess you want to say, carrying over from stage 1 was that we needed other stars to step up here for QConfirm outside of healthcare, because he was really their only star out of stage 1 at the end. But that's what has happened. Like Colas and Producer Boom in particular have had fantastic stages and really impactful plays, and that has what has enabled QConfirm to get to where they are right now, with this opportunity to be able to finish first at the end of the regular part of the stage.
It's pretty devastating when you look back and you think about how well they played for, the first 3 play days. They were heads and shoulders above everyone else. And in that match against IG, I don't know whether the ball slipped for them or whether IG just popped off, but that's been the footnote in their entire stage so far as to being the reason why we're in this position. QConfirm could have pretty much already have secured their spot at the major. Granted, Elevate have given themselves a chance here, but it does look a little bit dire as we head into this final play day, and the inconsistencies are showing here, Xenox. But it is against a team where the Wildcard themselves have had their fair share of problems. So this is a big opportunity for them to secure some points.
Wildcard have lost their last 3 games in APAC South. We'll see if they can break that streak when they need to do it the most here for Playday 7. Let's look at the map, though. Is it going to be Clubhouse like Manic Monday thought it could be, at least where you don't want to take them? And it will be. The caster now turned analyst, Manic. I'll go straight to you on this one. Is this as bad as it can get for QC?
yes, I'm going to say it is literally the only map that I wouldn't be taking to Wildcard to at the moment. I think that everything that we've seen from Wildcard has been scary, to say the very least. Look, Playday 6, they versed Chiefs, and they did lose that 7-4. However, we know Chiefs are a very good roster on Clubhouse. And as far as Stage 1 results go, we throw them out the window for Wildcard. I don't even consider anything pre-Stage 2 to be even relevant. Even the first couple of play days for Wildcard is not relevant in the whole scheme of things at the moment. And their record right now is really, really terrifying on Clubhouse. The roster, for whatever reason, Milo is just an absolute madman on this map and completely dismantle pushes. He will solo open up rounds. Emo Rin as well has had some unbelievable plays here. I am really worried for QConfirm, considering this is it. This is their biggest opportunity that they're going to have to book the major.
Yep, I'm going to jump on that too. I agree. Look, QConfirm have had some decent results. Am I Roboto again? Awesome. I think QConfirm have had some decent results. You know, they did manage to beat the Knights 7-5 in this stage on Clubhouse. That's a pretty decent win. But Wildcard have also beaten the Knights on Clubhouse, in fact, very recently in Oceanic Nationals, and that was a 7-4. On top of the fact, Wildcard have actually also beaten Order in APAC South on Clubhouse and 7th Heaven, and in fact, that 7th Heaven game was a 7-2. Again, could have just been an off night for 7th Heaven, but regardless, Wildcard have proved continuously in Stage 2 across Oceanic Nationals and APAC South that Clubhouse is their most comfortable map by far.
Yep. Well, that's going to be us on the desk done. Game should be ready to go very shortly. And to cover it is going to be our two favorite SI casters. It is, of course, Devmana and Guts.
Thank you very much, Xenox. I don't know if you've noticed this, guys, but it feels like every single time we've got Raven and Xenox on the same segment, the amount of chest hair I see just goes up like an exponential graph. But it's okay. We're dressed nice and I don't know, modestly here, Guz, and I'm really keen to get into this game because it is do or die. Despite 7th Heaven being at the bottom of the standings, there's still a chance they can make playoffs. That is how hectic APAC South is.
Yeah, this Playday is going to be on a whole nother level. This is the best regional league in the world, Dev. I know you've got the numbers, I'm sure you'll bring it up, but this is quite literally going to be the biggest play day of every single league. I cannot wait.
That's it. In every other regional league, EUL, NAL, BR6, and APAC North, there are at least 16 points difference between the number 1 team and the bottom team. In APAC South, there are only 5 points different. We have 6 teams who are still possible to go to playoffs or could possibly not make playoffs. It is so up in the air, and it all starts right now with an Aussie versus SEA clash. It is Wildcard and QConfirm, and as the guys on the desk said, it is Wildcard's favorite map. Maybe this is the opening that they've been looking for all stage long.
Yeah, very questionable QC heading them to this map. I would have assumed that Wildcard would be very, very happy, very comfortable with this map selection. So I'm sure they'll be in their element. And it's going to be up to QConfirm to try and throw them off. So far, the bans are pretty stock standard. The Thatcher Habana combo, very potent here on Clubhouse, but both teams will be well versed in playing without them available.
It's at a big national bash. It's funny, no Thai team has ever made it to a major, and QConfirm could book their ticket. If they get first place in APAC South, they get a direct invite to the Mexico Major. Otherwise, if they get 2nd through 4th place, they will have to play through the APAC playoffs against the APAC North teams and the South Asia teams, as well as some of the other APAC South teams in order to lock in their spot. Both QC and Elevate will today be gunning for that #1 spot. Knights also have a shoe-in for it, but it's much more challenging as we round off the ban phase. Guz, overall, I'm not too surprised. The one question mark I have is that Malusi ban from QConfirm. Not a super common ban, but man, if there is any team that you're going to expect to just send it and not be impeded by those Banshees, it's going to be QC.
Yeah, QC are not necessarily scared against the Malusi, but it does enable them a little bit more freedom on that attack. That said, I'd say that in the current meta, Malusi isn't really that potent, considering that now those Banshees pop open when you're within range and you can shoot them. So they're a lot easier to deal with, but I guess QConfirm, it's a bit of a comfort ban for them. And again, heading into this matchup, they want to feel as comfortable as possible. And leading on from that conversation about trying to finish first, trying to make it to the playoffs, etc. Unfortunately for QConfirm, they don't have the head-to-head against Elevate. So even if they get a full regulation win here, all 3 points, there is a possibility if Elevate beat Invictus later tonight, also in regulation, that they will not finish first. But of course, they want to put their best foot forward, and they will be pushing as hard as possible to get as many points on the board to enable that scenario. Yes, they are confirmed for the playoffs, at least, but I mean, getting that direct invite to the major would be absolutely huge.
Playoffs would definitely be a huge challenge for QConfirm. They didn't even make it to playoffs in Stage 1, and Stage 2 has just been something else for this Thai team. They have been so good. They've actually spent more time than any other team at #1 on the standings. But despite that, they are still not locked in for that Mexico Major. That's what they're playing for tonight, that #1 spot. Wildcard is just playing for a hope of getting into playoffs, and it's about time for Wildcard, right? We've given them some time to work on this roster change. After they lost Diesel, they played with their manager. Now they're back in with Milo, who is shown to be statistically a very talented player. Also, just a great addition to the team. They've also got Rousty coaching. There's no more excuses for Wildcard. The time is now.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. There is an expiry date as to when this roster change, it needs to come into full effect, and we need to see Wildcard back in their great form. And look, now is a fantastic opportunity to get a result on the board. Now, again, even if they win, doesn't necessarily confirm playoffs for them, but they don't want to leave their faith too much in the hands of others, and a full 3 points would go a long way in getting close, at least, to securing that position. So we'll have to see whether or not they can play their game. Of course, Clubhouse is a map that they are very well versed on. They have played it a lot, and they are very, very good at it. So I have no doubt they'll put up a really good fight.
And so far, Wildcard have done just that. Really good progress on this attack round so far with that main kennel CCTV wall open. Vincier is also going to destroy that really critical point of defense, that power position at that deployable shield using those Rotero drones from Flores. So this is really good progress so far from Wildcard. But that big elephant in the room is this garage. And with Roldini playing up there, it's going to be so difficult to clear him.
Yeah, the garage not fully reinforced does allow Geo to skeleton key that open, creates a line of sight and an entry point down below underneath those rafters. But Hajime inside of Lounge could pose a little bit of a threat. I believe Wildcard have droned it out though, so counter pressure will be applied here by the attack, but this Jaeger really needs to be cleared if Wildcard want to progress in towards Garage and clear out rafters.
Oh, and there's the player from outside lobby to find the opening pick. Vinny takes down Hajime, and Wildcard have the advantage. They need to follow up with some garage pressure as soon as possible and clear this Wamai on rafters.
And I think there was a player in bar potentially going for a flank. That may be like Hollis. I'm sure it probably was. Yeah, taken down there on the flank. Wildcard with a really strong start to this round. Now they just need to clear Roldini, and the round should be theirs.
Here comes the nade. Roldini taken down by Milo. This is clinical from Wildcard, but Producer Boom will not let this be a whitewash for the Aussies. As QConfirm try and hold on for another 30 seconds in a 2 versus 4.
Healthcare does have one gas canister left, uses that over towards the B bomb site, trying to prevent that CC plan, or at least delay it. But with 20 seconds to go, Wildcard can wait for it to wither down and then head in for the default plant.
Producer Boom has gotten another injure. Emo Rin cleans him up. Healthcare, the last man standing, and Wildcard find the opening round on their attacking side and one small step closer to playoffs.
A clean round there from Wildcard. Some aggression from QConfirm early in that round, particularly over towards Lounge. We saw the flank through bar as well, trying to retake that position and make Garage really difficult to gather control of, but Wildcard dealt with it in a very strong manner. They didn't put a foot wrong. Sure, they dropped a couple of picks late into that round, but they're in such a strong position with Rafters obtained that it was very easy for them to close out that round, and they'll be very happy with how they've started things here.
Oh, we've already said what the stakes are. We've really highlighted the fact that APAC South is so chaotic and anyone can make it. But man, like, it's just crazy to think that QConfirm have far and away been the best team in APAC South in Stage 1. Stage 2. They have upset so many teams, including the Knights, who looks to be gunning for that #1 spot. But now QConfirm may well drop to Wildcard. Of course, it is early days, but we do have a right to be confident here for Wildcard. Not only have they shown that they're warmed up today and ready to go, guns firing. But this is such a good map for them. Now, it's not flawless. We've seen losses for Wildcard here, but especially on their attack, they seem really solid. QConfirm are the ones that need to step up, and after such a strong start to Stage 2, there have been some cracks in the armor. I really want to see that QConfirm that is unafraid to just peek and take these fights and use their insane gun skill and aggression to really knock their opponent off balance.
Yeah, no doubt it has been a really strong season, or strong stage rather, from QConfirm, but there have been blemishes. They lost 1-7 to Invictus, and they also dropped the match to Elevate, which could prove really, really costly on the head-to-head later tonight. And QConfirm cannot play that siege tonight against Wildcard on all of these maps. Well, Clubhouse in particular is one they'll get punished on. There we go, Vinny with a free opening pick there onto Hajime, who I believe was inside of CCTV, caught off guard from the window, the deep angle there, shutting him down. And that is a pretty devastating start here for QConfirm, weakening that roam.
Yeah, and it is a roam, a very substantial one at that for QConfirm. All the tools you might want, all the information denial, plus the Kaid's going to make eventually cracking sight a little bit more difficult as well. Emo's looking to start cleaning up the top floor, but that info denial is making it quite difficult. And Healthcare is the primary roamer. I'm not sure, I didn't quite catch if there are any other QC players on the roam at the moment, or if it's just that Vigil in bar.
Doesn't look like it. All four in and around the site. Really aggressive from QConfirm in terms of op selections, right? They brought the Mute Mozzie combo as well as the Vigil, trying to make life really difficult for Wildcard to gain intel and find picks. So they'll need to be very, very careful here. And again, excuse the pun, but they'll have to be vigilant, of course, against Healthcare. It's in the name. A little bit of an off-meta position here inside of bar, over towards the hatch. Like Collis elsewhere, of course, taking down Pat there with the Nitro cell. That is the signal for the Vigil to fall back. And you know what? QConfirm haven't done a bad job here. They've wasted 2 minutes. They've brought it back to a 4v4, and now they can reinforce site.
Especially because there is that Kaid and some site pressure. One C4 left, still standing as well. It means that QConfirm can play this as an anchor strat. Oh, here comes that C4, but Gio just barely dodges it. Now, piece by piece, QConfirm's site pressure is weakening, but could flip the switch at any moment if this vertical gunfight goes the way of the defenders.
It doesn't look like Kitchen Hatch will be the play here for Wildcard, as Milo only has one Summer left. You need two, of course, to open up the hatch. That would suggest we'll probably see main stairs, or maybe even a blue rotation here. Wildcard rotating late. Milo uses one Summer there on the triple wall, and we could well see him try and solo push with the AK-12, the rest of the team through blue, and Emo and getting that pick there is huge to try and get control.
Gio's got to drop, and he's got to make an impact now with no time left, and Healthcare's found the player at main stairs, and that's a massive pick, but it's just Healthcare. He's found a 3K, but he can't find the fourth. Wildcard, they leave it late, but they do get it done. That's a second attack in a row.
Oh, Healthcare will be seething at the conclusion of that round. If he had stayed behind the box, there's a real chance that he could have played with the diffuser, played against the time, and maybe even won out the round. It was such a big performance from him to get it down to the 1v1, but then unfortunately he just felt a little bit too much pressure and moved into the line of sight there of Emo Rin, who was able to steady himself and close out the round there for Wildcard. A much closer one than the first round for the Aussies, but they are continually mounting rounds against their opponent.
Yeah. At this point, guys, 2-0 up for the attack for Wildcard. We've really kind of hammered home the fact that this is a good map for Wildcard, but it's not flawless, right? They lost it to Chiefs just last week in APAC South. So perhaps we were getting a bit overconfident, but I think the proof is in the pudding here. Like 2 rounds on the attack, surely that's a very strong result. Looking at just this map in general, you would expect the defense to be favored. 53% overall in APAC South in Stage 2, which isn't by a far margin, but I mean, this seems to me like the best you could ask for Wildcard.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be very, very pleased. And QConfirm rotating back upstairs to CCTV. This is an objective that they have lost. Thinking our minds back to that occasion, Wildcard were able to get really quick control, swift control of Garage and Rafters and Lounge. They were all cleared decisively by the attack. QConfirm didn't really have much of an answer back. They were reliant on red stairs to try and find a couple of trades, but eventually that crumbled. And of course, once you have control of rafters and you have the cross from the main wall, getting that default plant down going to be quite comfortable, or in the last case there for Wildcard, able to find the remaining picks and win out the round that way. So QConfirm will need to tidy up, particularly that garage side, if Wildcard go for it once again.
Looking back at Wildcard's clubhouse results, even their loss to Chiefs, right, last week, Wildcard, they only won a single attack that map. They still won 3 defenses. So, I mean, if Wildcard win one more attack, then they've set themselves up really, really well to, I mean, far exceed par for the course. Typically, you'll only see Wildcard win maybe 2 attacks on this map in some of their tougher games, and this should definitely be a tough game for them. So they couldn't have asked for a better start here. QConfirm, like you say, are the ones that need to step it up. It's like Colas on a roam near Master that may well find Vinny as that drone does go out.
And the other positive sign here for Wildcard, worrying for QConfirm, is that Milo is not hard carrying his team at the moment. And you might be thinking, well, I mean, isn't that kind of a bad thing that a player isn't stepping up? Oh, hold that thought by Colas and Logi. Gets traded, and there you go, the man of the hour, Molosca. But he hasn't been carrying the team, which is actually a positive sign. They've been, I would say, a little bit too reliant on Molosca finding particularly opening picks and going large, especially on the hard breach role as well. But it seems like the payload, or the workload rather, has been spread a lot more here. Vinny as well showing up despite being in a bit of a slump. Really positive signs for Wildcard, who are, again, still mounting round wins.
Yeah, this is a Wildcard that is seemingly addressing all of the things that were, I guess, obstacles that they have been facing recently, everything that they have been struggling with. Vinny in particular, you highlighted him. He has had a really, really rough stage. And, you know, he's admitted that himself. We've seen it in the stats. We've seen it in his gameplay. But I like this from Wildcard. They're actually going for a construction take. And that Flores just so versatile, right? He is explosives to clear utility, but he is also soft breach to open entryways through soft walls. And with Emo here as well on the long line outside the Kennels wall, Wildcard have set up some very strong positions.
Yeah, very different approach here from the attack. Garage control, not really the play. Instead, they're going to try and open up that cache wall, pressure in towards the objective, maybe even get a vault in towards this window as well. At Vents, Vinny might be able to find a kill, gets the down. That's big there. Emo Rin can clean that up with 20 seconds left. They just need to isolate Garage.
And Emo Rin's got the cutoff, but there's still 3 players alive for QC. He sees the feed. Geo finds a pick elsewhere. Still, Producer Boom at top red. He's the last one left in a 1-on-4. Can take down the first player, but immediately traded back. Wildcard have found 3 rounds straight.
This has been dominant from Wildcard. This is honestly very, very scary for QConfirm. Not only now have Wildcard won that same objective, CCTV and cache twice, but they did it with 2 completely different attacks. The first one was the garage and main wall take. The second one was just pressuring main wall and vents window and a little bit of pressure over towards Con, and QConfirm just completely falling apart once again. And they are learning a lesson right now that if you take Wildcard to Clubhouse, you need to play your A game. And so far, they are not bringing that into the server. And Wildcard, honestly, they are playing really, really well in isolating these picks, not allowing themselves to be traded out. And wow, I know it is early days. We don't want to get too excited, but a 3-0 lead is really, really impressive.
On their attack as well, that is just very, very unusual for Wildcard. Now, they have had some strong attacks on Clubhouse, but still, statistically, they do flourish more on their defense. Now, QConfirm are a really good attacking team. Their aggression can really upset opponents, but I think if Wildcard have a strong attack half, they're probably less likely to be caught off guard by that because they'll retain a lot of confidence. And I would say that it works the other way as well for QConfirm. If QConfirm struggle on their defense, they'll have less confidence to make those aggressive plays on their attack, which is what they succeed with. And just harking back for a second, Wildcard are currently in 7th place on the standings, 2nd last in APAC South Stage 2, but they can make playoffs. Every single point matters here. If they get the 3 points from this game, they will go up to 10 and be tied in 3rd place with the Knights. But of course, there's a lot of other games that are going to happen today. Order, Chiefs, Invictus can overtake Wildcard. And so even a convincing win here for the Aussies doesn't guarantee them playoffs.
Yeah, it's not every day of the week you'll see 2nd place in a regional league challenged by 7th. And again, shows just how closely tight-knit these teams are now. Another roam from QConfirm for the basement defense. They've done already a better job than last time, harping back. Vinny got a free opening pick onto Hajime, who this time has seeked refuge over towards top red, and he can try and play that position a little bit more conservatively. Of course, so he's going to be droned out, and pressure will slowly be applied. And it's Wildcard's job to try and choke this player out, force Hajime either to rotate or try and brute force the pick.
Top rafters is Emo. This is a very good angle to be playing with that P10 Roni from the Mozzie. Emo Rin instead playing the passive angle and waiting for the Mozzie to retreat. But instead, Hajime decides to go for a different pathing. Drops down the bar hatch, safely protected by those castle barricades. He gets back. And with 4 drones already taken out, this is a pretty solid job from QConfirm. Wildcard have to take this control. You can see they don't have all the info they would like, and QConfirm have just diverted this roam to the ground floor.
Yeah, slightly unfortunate there from Wildcard. Vinny was on the balcony, but didn't cut that player off. Now allowing QC to fortify this first floor position and again whittle down the time, of which is only 70 seconds left, and Vinny's going to force himself to make a play here inside of Strip. Now, if he finds this pick onto Lycolis, that'd be huge. Taps him in the back of the head and finds the kill. That's huge there. It won't go traded back. But again, QConfirm can try to sit in the site and try and waste more time. But again, with a man disadvantage, that trade out style of play surely will favor Wildcard.
Think so. I do wonder, what's the play here for Wildcard? Is it going to be another blue execute? Surely at this point it has to be. Milo has no more Selmas remaining, unless if they already have the kitchen hatch open, which they may well, judging by the positions of these attackers. But Wildcard have left their options open. There you go. So as long as Milo takes down Hajime, who's hiding in Arsenal, I think this should be a strong execute. But there's only 20 seconds left, and they're going to have to drop. This is going to be a big risk, and Hajime, he's not watching the hatch. Milo drops and finds the double. What is this from Wildcard? They storm through and find 4 attack rounds in a row. The Aussies are on fire.
Wildcard have not come to mess around in this matchup. Again, same objective, and they attack it differently. It still pays off, and in fact, it was much more dominant on that occasion. The last basement defense came down to, honestly, a bit of a lucky 1v1 there for Wildcard, if we want to be honest with ourselves, but on that occasion, absolutely dominant. QConfirm getting picked apart and not finding these trades back are leaving themselves in very vulnerable positions, and we're seeing players go for off-meta positions like Hajime on that, in the corner of Armory, for example, trying to get something going, and it feels like QConfirm are artificially attempting to manufacture something in this matchup. It is not working for them so far. Whatever their game plan was heading into this matchup is being torn apart, and Wildcard just need to keep this momentum rolling and try to just mount as many rounds as possible. As you mentioned earlier, Dev, QConfirm, when they're feeling confident, are still scary on their attack.
Especially with that Malusi ban, I do really wonder what we're going to see from QC on the attack, and I have an instinct that it will be strong. I don't think it'll be this strong, though. Like, for QConfirm to find at least 4 rounds on their attack, which they're going to have to do, right? Like, as long as Wildcard find 3 defenses, they win in regulation. Take home the 3 points. That is just, we're at a really, really crazy point already in this game, where it looks like this might be too far for QConfirm to fight back. Now, yeah, there is a chance that they will just go nuclear on their attack, but that chance is very, very slim. Wildcard, this is arguably the best we've seen them since making this roster change. I don't think we've ever seen them be in such a substantial lead against such a good team, especially on their attack.
Yeah, and if you're a Knights fan watching this matchup and waiting for them to play later, you'll be quite pleased with this result if Wildcard are able to close it out, as it does open up a tiny window for the Knights to claim that first position, provided that Elevate have some final Playday struggles as well, but it's a long way away, and we'll have to wait and see how those matches play out. At the moment, though, Wildcard are looking so good. They're proving why Clubhouse is their map, and this could be a huge game.
Oh!
That's dirty.
It's so good. That coordination is perfect as well from Pat and Gio. Already, the first pick is found. Producer Boom places down a mirror window, but there's a million ways that Wildcard could do it. That it is on a soft wall. and Wildcard in this form are terrifying, guys. Like, we haven't seen this for a very, very long time. Even the old Wildcard didn't play like this. This is a new breed, and this is, I think, a taste of the Wildcard that we've been hoping for a long time. Now, it's not all over yet. There goes that mirror window, but at least QConfirm have a pick. Hajime caught in a pickle, though, tries to retreat. But a single gunfight could swing the momentum of this round.
Emo Rin has been looking so sharp so far, 7-2, and if he gets droned into Logi here, he may well be able to find one more pick for his team. The clock not applying too much pressure here to the attack, still plenty to work with for Wildcard, and they can continue to do their due diligence and make sure that they get their objectives completed that they want. Hajime, with that hatch popped open, forced to play inside of Secret, and will do so. Needs to be mindful of Vinny, of course, he's on the balcony and might be able to get a line of sight. But here we go, Emorin creeping forward. Can he have an impact?
The peek's about to come through from Hajime. Yet to find a kill all game, but Emo on the other side, he's been so hot and once again shuts down Hajime. Is he good for the second one? Healthcare desperately trying to peek, but Lycolis and Producer Boom come to life for QConfirm. And now with Vinny trading back Lycolis, this is a 2 versus 2 with time left for Wildcard to make this work, but it is the best position we have seen QConfirm be in all game as Pat drops, but he loses the gunfight to Healthcare. And now it's going to have to be a big clutch from Vinny.
Oh, I can't help but feel that Pat should have maybe waited a split second, and that does compromise Vinny's ability to get in towards the site. His teammate, MIA and QConfirm, will finally get around on the board.
At this point, it may be too little too late, but at least we have that first step for QConfirm. We have seen some pretty insane reverse sweeps as well in the APAC League so far, so I wouldn't count out QConfirm yet, especially because we do know they bring a lot of firepower on that attacking side. A 2-4 half wouldn't be too shocking here. If they could nail down this final defense round, they could go into their attack and say, look, we've just got to win 4 attacks. Like, that is unusually good for an attacking side, especially on club, but it is definitely possible.
Back down to basement we go here. QConfirm have not successfully defended this site. Of course, the last round is the only defensive round that they have managed to capture, and that was on the other side of the map. Both CCTV and Cash and Arsenal Church, down below where we're at currently, have not been very strong at all for QConfirm. And most worryingly, I think, is the fact that Wildcard have been slightly adjusting, particularly their execute positions, the hatches that they're getting open and using that utility in slightly different ways, but still continuing to manufacture around wins, which when you're on the defense and it's rolling that way can be very, very challenging. I'm sure this will resonate with you, Dev, and probably chat as well, but there's sometimes when you're playing Siege and you just, whatever you throw at your opponents, you just are not winning. And on these particular objectives, that has been the case for QConfirm.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, this is the biggest diversion from the strategy they've been showing so far, though. It's like they're kind of faking that they're doing the same strat because they've still got the castle barricades there, but like those hatches are reinforced, so this is a good time-wasting strategy for QConfirm, but with less information, no mute, no mozzie. It means that Wildcard is just going to get control of the top floor really, really quickly. But of course, the X factor is the mirrors when it comes onto the bomb site. Healthcare can also potentially bandit juggle those mirror windows as well to protect them further, but Vinny's actually making a really aggressive play here through dirt. I don't think anyone from QConfirm is watching this. If Vinny has info, he could make such an impact.
Yeah, and it's not barricaded. This could be absolutely huge. Oh, Vinny with the trigger discipline finds one. Oh, but he gets traded out by Roldini. It's a big play from Vinny, but Roldini actually able to find one back. So not the absolute worst result there, I guess. Unfortunate for QConfirm that it is Lycolis that drops first. No more magnets will be dispersed by that Wamai.
Yeah, you can say the same though for Wildcard, right? No Flores left.
Yep.
Now, fortunately for them, there's not a lot of util they'd need to clear with the Flores, but he's certainly nice.
Keen to see what hatches Wildcard attempt to open on this occasion. Last time they opened all 3, being stock, bar, and kitchen. Considering that Molosca has 2 Selmas, I believe, still left, he can use those on the kitchen hatch, and then Pat can trick the remaining if required. I believe that's what they did last time. That said, Geo just confirming that the top floor is clear, creates those lines of sight with the skeleton key through the floor to ensure that QConfirm cannot retake above, but I assume that's probably the last thing on their minds for the defense. Instead, trying to hold some of those key locations like blue, make sure no one else sneaks through dirt. And of course you have main stairs and the hatches. So QConfirm definitely with a lot to juggle here, and Wildcard wanting to apply as much pressure as possible.
Milo can get this hatch. That's a big boon for Wildcard. Producer Boom still has a mirror in pocket. He's likely looking to put that down. He just has on the church wall, I believe. That means Wildcard won't necessarily have droned that out. They won't be as aware. Producer Boom may have a little bit of an X-Factor strategy here, but I like this from Pat. He's actually going to go out dirt. Now, Wildcard are pushing lots of different places at once, but it might be the right play to counter this. So they're going to completely bypass church.
That really has been the way here for Wildcard on basement, to try and choke out their opponents from as many angles as possible, and Geo kicks that off, dropping healthcare, leaving it in the 4v3.
Oh, I like that. Pat's teammate actually opens up that door for him, but Hajime, very aware of that position, finds the pick. Wildcard in a 3 versus 2, but a 2-on-2 now. Hajime has done a lot of good work, and this is going to have to be a last-minute push in for Wildcard, and Imorin somehow just sees the player's head, and on the buzzer can finish off the half. 5-1 for Wildcard.
Imorin has just been so damn good in the late round. He is finding critical picks across the board, and so far he has been an absolute standout here for Wildcard on that Zofia, doing a lot of work. And 5-1 the score for Wildcard. I cannot believe we are saying that, particularly considering they started on the attack. This is just absolutely ridiculous to think that 7th place in the standings is arguably dominating their 2nd place opponents, which is just, you don't see that every day, but I guess that's what we come to expect here in APAC South. It's a wild west down here, and who knows, there might be another twist in this tale yet.
Yeah, I mean, without the Thinker, I don't know, like, when will QConfirm bring the Thinker? That's what I wonder. It is the trademark for Producer Boom, but I think that they're just going to try and recompose and be less extreme, not going to bring it to start with. I do think if things start to get close, they likely will bring it out. It just seems to be their crotch pick, like when they're like desperate.
Well, I mean,
they
just to butt in, but this is really close, right? If they lose the next round, they cannot win this in regulation, and that severely compromises their ability to finish first, because they don't have the head-to-head against Elevate, so they'll be banking on them to completely lose
in regulation. Yeah,
like, this is a big round. I know it's not necessarily match point, but it is to claim at least something from this matchup, and QConfirm cannot allow any points to slip.
That's it. Really, we were banking on QConfirm for their chance at being first is to win this in regulation. For Wildcard's chance at making playoffs at all, winning in regulation is critical. So for them, they just have to maintain their composure here on the defense, not let QC back into it. Because even if Wildcard win this in OT, right, if QConfirm comes back somehow to win enough and Wildcard still wins it, that's a failure from Wildcard, especially from this point.
Yeah, no doubt. So the scoreline, maybe not very close, but the pressure's still high considering the stakes for both of these teams. Wildcard electing to go down below for their first defensive effort, and despite not having the most extravagant of roams, have still melted a minute of time here, and QConfirm only now just getting in towards the first floor, as Roldini will be tasked with opening up those hatches, I would assume, alongside Hajime. And in fact, they also have Lycola, so the triple hard breach set up here from QConfirm, not leaving any stone unturned and wanting to ensure that they open as many lines of sights and entry points in towards the OBJ itself.
Time ticking away though, Wildcard should be happy to just sit on site with their info denial in the form of Milo's Vigil, but also info gathering from Pat on the Pulse. Pulse is just so good on this bomb site, not only for getting info into kitchen, but also main stairs, potentially enabling C4s for both of those positions as well. So Roldini makes his entryway into Dirt Tunnel. It's another thing Wildcard are going to have to be mindful of. That Mute Jammer doesn't completely cover Milo, but there should be a pretty indication from QC that there's all 5 defenders on site.
I mean, Wildcard have done such a good job here. There's only a minute left, and again, they didn't commit to any sort of extravagant roam, not to the same lengths as QConfirm, but that time continues to whittle down really, really quickly. It would feel like this is a a 1 minute 30 round for QConfirm. They don't have a whole lot to work with. Fortunately for them, though, the hatches are being worked open, allowing them to mount their attack, but it is still a 5v5. QConfirm struggling to gain intel in towards the site as well, and I think this is going to come down to just a good old trade out in which team has sharper shots.
If QConfirm finds some entries untraded, then yeah, definitely. But that's a really nice place, Gaspade. Pat has so much info right now that two players are stacking up in short. As long as he has support from Emo in blue, this should be fine. Hello, Milo. Bite off a little bit more than you can chew there with that aggressive peek, and this is the opportunity QConfirm have been looking for. But Pat holds down in Moto, and suddenly it's just on Pat in a 1 versus 3, but QConfirm drag it over the line. A desperate attempt from them, but it does work and they stay alive.
And talk about desperation. Milo, they're trying to flank short. If he wins that engagement, gets 2 picks and stays alive, Wildcard probably win that round. But unfortunately, QConfirm too sharp, able to find that pick back in response. Gave them a really nice platform to mount the rest of their attack and their aggression, particularly in towards Church through Moto. Sure, it was risky against Pat, but it paid dividends in the end. And whew, maybe, like I said, there's still another twist in this tale of QConfirm. If they can mount some confidence on this attacking half, then who knows how far that can take them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a funny round from Wildcard in the last, 20 seconds or so. Yeah. Does make you wonder, Milo, did he really need to take that risk? You know, don't like ragging on players, and hindsight is 2020. Yes, if he had won that, it probably would have meant the round if he'd gotten those 2 picks. But if he loses that, it gives an in for QC. Sometimes, you know, not actually the percentage play to go for that, but you know, it's difficult to say with certainty. If he made that work, we would be singing his praises. So, yeah. Regardless, Wildcard will revisit that same bomb site with a similar operator lineup, more or less the same. The only change, though, is Milo getting onto the alibi instead of that vigil. I do wonder the idea here. I mean, he's not even bringing the shield, so it's literally just either a choice for the gun or a choice for the prismas instead of the ERC7 disruptor. But I don't know. Maybe the prismas are just they're never like amazing, especially on this bomb site. But they are kind of like nice, I guess. Yeah,
I would say that given the current meta, where there's quite a bit of flexibility in op picks, Milo's kind of just going, hey guys, I'm going to frag out this round, picks an operator where that can be a viable strategy. And he does have impacts which might prove useful in delaying the kitchen hatch. But again, 3 hard breaches are available here for QConfirm. So I don't think that's going to ultimately work out, but again, might drain a little bit of time. So again, we'll have to wait and see. Milo is playing on that main stairs position once again. Maybe the idea is he'll be a little bit more aggressive with the Storm in hand as opposed to the K1A. I mean, either or, really strong primaries. We'll have to see how QConfirm deal with him on this occasion, because last time they kind of just willy-nilly sent drones down there and they were all getting caught by that mute jammer. So maybe they'll get a little bit more aggressive here to find that opening.
Hard to say whether the play here for Wildcard is to lean into the aggression more or just sit site kind of passively, because they basically did the latter in the previous round, with the exception of a little bit of aggressive peeking at the end in the last 20 seconds. Looks like Milo is just going to play site, so this should be a round that probably pans out very similarly to the previous, with the exception of course, that execute can go either way. In theory, you'd expect QConfirm to be a little bit quicker this round, as they have already played against this setup now. They'll be a little bit more efficient. Perhaps we'll see a C4 connect this time from Pat, or Geo perhaps. I think that would be a big boast early for Wildcard.
Yeah, this round is playing out very, very similar. Same hatches being open, similar positions here from the attack. Healthcare, again, will post up over towards blue to go for a late round push. And honestly, it might just come down to, if Wildcard play a little bit more passively, will QConfirm be able to get through these choke points and potentially try and get that plant down? Or again, do we see Wildcard go for another aggressive play, and if it pays off, then they're able to close it out easily? So again, on a knife's edge, this round, 40 seconds to go as QConfirm send in a couple of drones. They have 7 still available to try and work out where these defenders are positioned. That's 1 spotted, 2 spotted, maybe even the 3rd there, deep in towards the corner. So QConfirm have a lot to work with here.
Yeah, this is a really strong position from QC. This kitchen drop is primed and ready. But again, it may come down to those late round executes. And Geo did actually spot the player going dirt in the late round. Healthcare finds the opening pick. A player pushing from oil. Milo has to find it. He does get the down. Just 2 QConfirm players left, and it may be Wildcard to steal match point. Not if Roldini has anything to say about it, but Milo's playing the patient game. This will have to be a cover in the plant, but Milo can deny. And that's Wildcard on to match point.
Huge there from Wildcard, finding the picks as they were required, and that aggression there from the alibi in the hands of Mollusk, able to deny that plant. Once it was in red time, Lycolis had to stick, and it was effectively a 1v3 there for QConfirm, going to be very, very challenging to win that out. It's a devastating blow for QConfirm, who now have their chances of finishing first in APAC South severely compromised. I mean, completely blown out if they lose the next round, but already, again, very much on the balance or on the edge of everything at the moment. I can't even get the words out because I'm mind blown. Honestly, that Wildcard are leading this match 6-2. To think that would have been the result heading into this is absolutely ridiculous. And they are 1 round away now from getting a full 3 points, which might ultimately be enough to get them into the playoffs. And they are currently 7th heading into this matchup. 7th! It's just ridiculous.
That is APAC South for you. Even 7th Heaven has a chance of making playoffs, and they're at the very bottom in 8th. That said, with Wildcard doing well here, it does make 7th Heaven's job a little bit more difficult. But yes, for QConfirm, this is already a really significant blow. The only way QConfirm get that #1 spot and a direct invite to that Mexico Major is if Elevate gets... Well, firstly, QConfirm will have to win this game in overtime. Or I guess they could lose it in overtime and still get it, but that would require Elevate and Knights both not getting any points.
Yeah.
There's a chance that Knights could get like 1 or 2 points, but QConfirm really need to make sure that they get some points here, because if they lose this round, like you say, if they lose in regulation, there is no chance that QConfirm get that direct invite. They will have to play through the playoffs.
Wildcard looking to compose themselves in this matchup. Vinny down below, that's a little bit sneaky in bar. Does have a Nitro Cell in the hands of Goyo that could be really useful late round for plant denial. At the moment, they're just playing hallway monitor, ensuring that no one from QConfirm is able to gain control down below. Elsewhere though, the attack working CCTV, Healthcare as well, has gained control of Garage Rafters, but their next checkpoint will be taking Cash, and as we often see here, Molluska has established the quote-unquote Milo hold, where there is a line of sight from Cash in towards CCTV, making that not necessarily the free real estate that we would see from a lot of other defensive setups.
It's a good start for, I guess, both teams. I mean,
Oh, Milo.
maybe not if that connects, but the Inja traded back, so this is definitely a big win for QConfirm. Milo's really known for playing that position in Cash and doing a lot of good work from it, so having him taken out reasonably early is really great for QConfirm. That said, Roldini is very low.
Puts quite a bit of pressure on Geo, almost time there on the Rafters window. Producer Bim elsewhere going big. Geo needs to find kills here. He knows that. That's why he's staying in this position, trying to find something, but Hajime from down below will shut him down. Vinny and Emo need to bring back a 2v5.
Yeah, but Emo makes it a... I was going to say 2v4, but this has been a very, very quick round, and it's not going to last any longer. QConfirm do stay alive a little bit longer here on Clubhouse and find their second attack, but are still staring down match point.
There's a small thread of hope dangling from the ceiling here for QConfirm, but it's very fine. 3 rounds still to go for them to even get this match into overtime and stand any chance of finishing first and heading to Mexico. Now, it is important to note that, like Elevate, QConfirm have already confirmed their playoffs position. So, at worst, they don't finish first. They can still fight through the playoffs and make it to the major. But still, I think this is a dire way to end their regular season if they are to fall here against Wildcard, particularly in this fashion. And it goes back, I guess, to the discussion that the desk was having earlier. We had as well at the start. Why did you take Wildcard to Clubhouse? I mean, they have to have their reasons, QConfirm, and we don't know those. We're not going to speculate, but just based on Wildcard's track record and their favoritism of this map, it was the one place we didn't expect QConfirm to allow them to go.
Yeah, Clubhouse is definitely the I mean, even Wildcard beating Knights and OCL on this map just the last week. Like, I'm going to read off the Stage 2 results of Clubhouse from Wildcard. 7-3 over Order, 7-2 over Seventh Heaven, 7-2 over LFO. That's an OCN team. 4-7 loss to Chiefs, and then a 7-4 win tonight. So the only loss they've had was that 7-4 to Chiefs. Perhaps QConfirm saw that and thought, hey, maybe there's something we can exploit here. But that wildcard was a wildcard that only won a single attack round in their attacking half, not 5 out of 6. So it's very, very different wildcard that we are seeing show up in the server here today. And even though these defenses are not as tight as they could be for wildcard, and as expected from QConfirm, their attacks do have a lot of bite, we're definitely expecting wildcard to be running away with this. They only need one more defense round win.
And if they want that win, they'll need to hold on to Cash and CCTV. Nothing too wild being executed here from the defense. The only real wild card, if you would, for WC is Vinny. Again, playing on that first floor over towards pool table. He was being droned out, but he'll likely clear that, leaving 8 for the rest of the team to utilize. I think, again, much like the QConfirm defense, it's going to come down to rafters here. And Milo is in the prime position to make or break this defense.
Don't mind that from Pat. He's actually holding in secret, and he's got these magnets to protect him. Roldini has a single nade left. Not sure how many healthcare has at the moment. Vinny's taken quite a bit of damage there, I believe, from like Colas. He's all the way off in bar. He's actually going to retreat downstairs before QConfirm get the chance to fully hunt him. Maybe Vinny can rotate back and support one of his teammates. He needs to be careful about his pathing because his rotate is being watched.
How long will Producer Boom stay, though? Wildcard only have a minute 15 to work with, but I guess Roldini has alleviated a little bit of that pressure, gaining control of Seeker and dropping Pat in the process. That means that Vinny needs to go quite large here, or at least sweep through late round to find something. Back on Milo, though. Again, Raft is going to be key. And he's lost his support in Pat.
Are there any nades left on healthcare? There are still 2. So Milo is vulnerable to that. He, I believe, has one of those ADSs still active. You can see one flashing, which means it's inactive. The other one's still active. So I don't think QConfirm are going to be able to do this.
Vinny. Oh, Vinny from outside lands some shots there onto Roldini. It's not enough to find the pick, and it does reveal his position. 30 seconds to go. QConfirm need to commit to something, either clear Vinny and hit site, or just straight hit site and find him on the rotate. Either way, it's going to be tough.
But Milo has the prime position. He's safe now, but Gio just barely saves his teammate life as Lycolis goes down, but 3 players left for QC. 10 seconds left, and Wildcard have it in their hands. Imarin locks in the final pick. Wildcard rocket up the standings from 7th into 4th, and are on Lou for a playoffs spot, taking down QC.
The resurgence from Wildcard is well and truly alive. They have been tested immensely in the last 6 months, but now they can be proud of themselves. What a performance tonight. They kicked it off with a 5-1 half on Clubhouse, which is absolutely ridiculous. Some of their veterans, like Imarin, for example, posting huge numbers and having a massive impact in this matchup. They will be very pleased with that result. And sure, they still need to rely on other results to fall their way, but they have put not only their best foot forward, they've put 2 feet forward at least. This was a huge performance from them.
What a massive statement for Wildcard to make. There have been so many critiques of Wildcard. A lot of them have a substantial amount of merit as well. Wildcard in Stage 1 was very much a wounded beast, and they have come back with a vengeance in Stage 2. They may go to playoffs as well. They've done everything they can to secure that. Of course, it's not enough as of yet. We are going to have to see how the other matches go and whether any teams can knock them out of that 4th position. It is still possible, but a win here against the team that has been #1 in APAC South for the majority of Stage 2 is just about the best that Wildcard could have asked for.
Yeah, such a huge confidence booster for them. If they make it into the playoffs now, they know they can back themselves in against some of the strongest teams in the region. If unfortunately they don't make it, again, they can continue to try and build in towards Stage 3. And given how close this league is, maybe we could see them fighting it out there. But still, a long night to go, a lot of Siege to be played, and we don't know where Wildcard will land themselves.
Well, you'll have to keep watching and find out then, but we, of course, have the desk to go to, and we will have an interview as well I'm very excited for. So back to you, Xenox, and the boys.
Yes, thank you very much, boys. What a victory for Wildcard, just keeping their playoff aspirations alive for a little bit longer. As they said, though, Raven, there's other games that do need to go their way.
There are. Their fate is firmly within other teams' grasps, and it's just the nature. It has been in APAC South, and it's probably the case for most of these teams if they'd played first tonight. So, yeah, look, I think to the point that the cast has made, Wildcard are giving themselves their best opportunity to at least try and qualify for playoffs now. And at least from them, you know, they can look back at Stage 2 and be like, wow, at least it was better than Stage 1.
Yeah.
What are you doing taking Wildcard to Clubhouse on the most important game of probably their careers? Let's be completely honest here. QC confirming a spot at Mexico without having to go through playoffs would have been, I would say, their largest game they've ever played, the biggest feat they've ever had, and they've gone to Clubhouse and been absolutely spanked 7 ways silly. I mean, I'm not a negative Nancy by any means. I am generally an optimist, but that right there is devastating for QConfirm. And I mean, look, on the flip side as well, it's also important that Wildcard take advantage of any mistakes that have been made, and boy, did they. They played unbelievably, so couldn't be happier with the Aussie boys.
Certainly a big victory for Wildcard, but questions potentially to be asked to QConfirm. We do have other questions, though, the good kind. Let's get Rousty in for a chat, of course, the coach for Wildcard. Firstly, congratulations, mate, on the victory. Much needed. You had to win this game, of course, to keep the playoffs alive. I do have to ask, did you expect to be going to Clubhouse, a map that has been suiting you guys very, very well, and QConfirm obviously didn't care?
Well, thanks for the congratulations, and I think, yeah, we kind of expected the approach for the game was that we were, like, obviously looking what the QConfirm have done before, and that we're kind of expecting to either play Klein or Club, and those were the 2 maps that we have been preparing. And obviously, like, Clubhouse has been really good for us this season. Care if we play Clubhouse every time, if it's that good as it was today. And yeah, it was like kind of expecting that we go to either do those maps. I personally thought that we're gonna go on Coastline, but for some reason they felt confident, and that played good for us today. So can't complain.
By the way, very nice to meet you. I think this is the first time we're interacting on an interview, so it's very nice to have you on, mate. Yeah?
There's a story, if I can say. There's a story because I have been really lucky to do interviews because I tried to do one in secret and we lost that game. And basically every time I tried to do an interview, we lost the game. So I was really shying away from that, not jinxing, but I had confidence on boys today. So I just, well, let's give it a go.
So, yeah, you're the opposite of Raven now. You've kind of you've rubbed that curse off. But I am curious to hear, mate. You said that you'd been prepping for Clubhouse coming into this. What kind of preparations were you doing in the week leading up to it?
Well, to be honest, like mainly we were in like Coastline. I think we feel comfortable how our Clubhouse is at the moment because at the end of the day, our Clubhouse is really solid, but that depends on us playing to our game, which is supporting each other, having good ones, always like going for positive outcomes and playing round after round. And if we can get that, there's no worries about our Clubhouse. There's obviously you can refine things here and there, but our mainly prep for this game was Coast, and we were getting ready for that, knowing that our Clubhouse will be good if we get those like fundamental things in check. And today they were really much in check, so have to like congratulate the team, and I can safely say that I'm really proud of the boys, how they came together.
Yeah, no, definitely the most well-rounded team effort I feel like we've seen from you guys. In fact, probably the whole stage. And that's kind of where my question is going to lie. You can kind of look back at this stage now, whether you make playoffs or not. There's certainly been a much better effort from Wildcard Gaming. So I guess my question is really, where do you really feel like you guys are at with your development, with the way the roster's changed, and obviously the addition of yourselves? Do you feel like you guys have made a lot of progress, or do you feel like is actually only like maybe 20% and there's still a lot more ahead of you? Where is your head at with where the team is tracking?
I think at the moment we're in a stage where we are actually doing the stuff we want to do to get better. Like obviously, first thing you come in as a coach or a new player, especially if you coach, first thing you come in and you just have to check out what are the issues that we might be having, and what are the issues we need to fix first and stuff like that. But it's really hard to fix stuff during the season because it requires a lot of planning and dry running and stuff like that. So you just try to do as much as you can during the season. But I feel that this team has way more lot to offer that you guys haven't seen this season. And it just needs that we have the peace and quiet to actually work on stuff. But there's like tons of potential with the guys that were already in the team and addition of Milo. And we just have to be willing to work hard and be passionate about what we do. And I think the main thing is just to be consistent. And that was something that we lacked this season. And the results might have been even better if we would have been able to find consistency on some of the games. But it's a new team. Always takes time to get the synergy going. Always gets time to find the roles and everything. It's an ongoing process. But have to be happy with all the good stuff we have made so far. But I think there's a lot more to come in the future.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys need quite a lot to go your way tonight. You did everything you could on your end by getting the victory, but I'm pretty certain you need like 3 other results to go your way, if I'm correct, looking at it at a glance. So even if it's not 3, maybe it's 2, but it's still a lot. Obviously, you'll be watching the rest of the night, so we'll wish you farewell. And any final thoughts you want to give, I guess, any shout-outs as well before we let you go?
Yeah, well, shout out to Flux, our other coach. I think he's one of the best young minds in the game, and he needs more appreciation than a lot of guys that are in here. And I just wanted to get a shout out to this guy. So really happy to work with him, and it's been like a really refreshing thing for me to have a guy to throw around ideas and everything else. And obviously, want to thank all the fans. And you guys as well. I think APAC broadcast is really good. I'm really enjoying what you guys do, and hopefully you guys keep doing it. So thanks to that as well.
Thank you very much, Rousty, and best of luck for the rest of the stage and maybe the future as well, depending on what happens over the rest of the night.
All right, thanks, guys.
Obviously, guys, Raven, Manic, Wildcard, they got their win, but there's so much that needs to go right if they're going to make playoffs.
Yeah, really, really is. And that's going to be an anxious wait for them, because it's not just like it's the next game. It is literally the remainder of the matches tonight that really will count their fate. I haven't dived into the math of exactly how it could work out for them, but
Don't worry, I have.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure,
anxious wait.
Rob, if you know, I'm pretty sure they got the 3 games. They need 7th, Knights, and Elevate all to win.
I actually believe that they need a weird mix of the Chiefs, like only getting 1 point or something like that. But it's certainly Knights and Elevate toward the end that they are 100%, like that's what they're relying on heavily at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, they jump up to 11 points here. Knights have to beat Order. It is really at the point where it is the longest shot. It is actually the longest shot for them to make it to playoffs, but it is possible. By the way, can I just say, Rousty is more than welcome to come on anytime he wants when he gives out compliments like that. I will have
Feels
him
good,
at my
man.
house for dinner, mate. If you ever come to Australia and you need a place to stay, my spare bedroom will be the place for you, don't you worry.
All right, well, we're going to go to a break. Of course, we've got the rest of the night, 3 more games, and so much to dissect, so many little algorithms to go over. We'll have a short break when we come back. Lots to go over.